Hello, everyone. I hope you are doing great and you have had a great weekend. As we discussed on Friday, I'm going to record this part of the class, which is project management, and I'm going to share with you so you guys can go through it and then we can discuss for this coming week. Yeah, we are going to be discussing on the different steps you should follow, and if you have some questions that you want to clarify or some of the things that you don't understand, then we can go through them and try to clarify them. So we have different key elements here that are going to determine how you should do your project, right? Uh, the videos that are shared with you and with the questions, you can just answer the first 10 questions to understand the video. And then the last question, which is the 11th, you are going to use that 11th to design your project. And those are the elements that I'm going to expect you to take into account when you are designing your project, when you are going through your project. So pay attention to it and make sure that you ask all the questions that you have and we can clarify them before you submit your final project. So before we go through the different elements that you want to take into account in your project, I just want to discuss some few elements about project management and the key element that we should we should understand when we are doing our project. It depends. It can be any type of project. So it can be a kind of, let's say your own business that you want to design, or you are managing a particular department in your organization and they want to implement a special project or something, and then you want to take the lead of that particular project. So this is going to serve you not only for this class, but it's going to serve you for let's say for a lifetime, because you are going to need to understand how you should organize your ideas, how you should set the plan, and how you should also set priorities, and how you should invest in some of the parts, right? So the objectives, we want to understand the difference between a project and project management. So what is a project? What is a project management? And we want to work also, develop a working knowledge on how to properly scope a project for a success. So how do we make a kind of projection? So how do we see our project in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, and what kind of impact we are creating? Are we achieving our goals? Are we fulfilling our mission and the purpose and what we promise? So our promise, right? So those are the two objectives that we want to achieve at the end of these presentations. Um, First of all, what you have to understand is that a project is a sequence of unique, complex, and connected activities that have one goal or purpose that must be completed by a specific time within a budget, and then according to specifications. So what is going to happen that is that when we are talking about a project, we are going to have different activities that we are going to interconnect, right? So when I'm saying I have a project of creating um, a, let's say, e-commerce or an online business, means I'm going to develop my web page, which is one of the activities. I'm going to look for probably my suppliers, which is another activity. Probably I'm going to develop. I'm going to look for somebody who is going to host my web page. I'm going to look for community managers and those kind of things. This is what we want to call a project. So we have those different activities that are going to be interconnected, but we have one goal. One goal that we have is to have my business online, right? To serve people from my house or from my, let's say, the city where I'm going to find myself, or the country if I'm traveling around the world and so on, right? And then we must fulfill this by a specific time. So when we are saying I want to launch my online business, so probably I'm going to say by March 2023, I'm going to launch my own business. Means this is the specific time we want to, let's say, take to fulfill that goal, right? So we are going to have interconnected activities that we want to connect them to make sure that they are going to allow our customers to be served, or we are going to allow ourselves to start implementing our project within a budget. We are going to have a budget how much we are going to pay to our developers, how much we are going to pay to our community managers, how much we are going to use to buy the hosting, our suppliers, how much we are going to give to them first, and so on. So we have a budget that we have to design for our project, and then we want to have some specification that we want to take into account before implementing our project. Now, when we talk about project management, the criteria means we have a goal. So, right, project is oriented toward a goal. So we have a goal that we want to achieve. And then there is something unique about every single project that we have. So every single project we are going to have, there is something unique, which is going to make our project to be different from other projects that we are going to have, right? And then we have a finite definition and duration. So when we take our project, we are not going to do the project for a lifetime. We want to make sure that we have some specific timeline that we are going to set to say, hey, this is the promotion. We are going to start the promotion at this particular date, and we are going to finish at that particular date. We are going to start, let's say, executing our activities by next year until whatever you want to call it, right? So you have a finite duration. So to implement that particular project, and your project is going to require some coordination of interrelated activities. So we are going to have um, a coordination. So that's why in general, what we have a project director or project manager, if you want. That person is going to track the different performance, how we are moving. Is our marketing department moving according to the agenda that we have or according to our calendar? Is our finance department moving? Is our human resources, is our development department moving? So we have all those things that we want to take into account, and we want to track all those performance to make sure that we are moving toward our goal, to achieving our goal. So what you want to pay attention to is that when we are talking about project management, is nothing else than a set of principles and tools for defining, planning, executing, controlling, and completing a project. So a project is in capital letters because if you take finance management, it's going to be the same thing. So what you have to pay attention to right here is the idea of management. So when I'm saying I'm the finance manager of this particular organization, means I define what is going to be, let's say, our budget, and I'm going to plan that particular budget, and I'm going to execute the activities. So my team and I, we are going to execute the activities, and I'm going to control the activities, how things are going, and we have to complete that particular activity. If somebody says I'm the marketing manager, this is what they do. So they have to define what is going to be our market, what kind of studies we have to do, and we have to plan when we are going to do what, and we have to find out when we are going to start our activities, and we want to also track our, let's say, stakeholders, let's say, in general, our collaborators, if things are going as planned and so on, and we want to complete those things. So the idea is that when we talk about management, we are referring to those things. So you just have to add that particular thing on this particular definition that we have right here, right? Why is project management important for us? What we have to understand is that it's going to allow us to organize our approach. And then it's going to generate a credible schedule. So when we go to see our founders, or let's say our business angels or our shareholders, and we present the project to them to say, hey, this is what we want to do as a CSR initiative. This is the project we want to implement. They have a clear, let's say, idea of what you want to do and how you want to do it, and they can just push you out with the finance that you need, or the fund that you need to raise. And then it's going to allow us also to track our progress and control our project, so to make sure that, hey, we are achieving our goals according to the plan that we made, or we are not achieving. So let's find out what is going right and what is going wrong, and how we can support where we have to support, such as the fourth element right here. So we want to identify where we should focus our effort, so to make sure that we are moving toward achieving our goal. And then we want to also identify problems before they become crisis, right? So it's really important to understand, probably two departments do not understand each other, or or they are not executing the work as it should. So we want to identify those things and find out how we can solve them before they become, let's say, crisis. They become urgent, right? And it's going to help us also to save time and money, right? So it's really important to take into account those key elements. And then somebody is going to say that if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail, right? So if you don't know how to plan, if you don't plan, then probably you are planning for your failure. So you want to make sure that you pay attention to those different things and then you take them into account. Now, you have five phases of project management. You have what you want to call scoping the project and developing the plan, launching the plan, and monitoring and controlling and closing out the project. So let's go step by step. What is scoping the plan? Scoping the plan is when we want to state the opportunity or the problem. Not all the time we have the problem to solve. It can be an opportunity where we have already the activity that exists and we want to take, let's say, the opportunity to develop more activities to serve more our stakeholders. So people who are interacting with us, which can be instead of identifying a problem. Now, for our particular class that we have, some of you in your videos, you are going to have, let's say, you are going to have some opportunities and also some problems at the same time in the same video. So you have to pay attention to it. Some of you are going to just find some problems. Some of you are going to find just the opportunity, and some of you are going to find both of them, right? And then you want to establish the project goal. So what is your goal? What do you want to achieve at the end of the project? What is going to make you to tell people that, hey, this is what I did within the next, let's say within the past 5 years or 2 years or 3 years or 6 years or 10 years. And this is what I promised that I'm going to achieve. And this is what I achieved. And then you want to define the project objectives. So what you have to understand is that you have the opportunity or the problems, and then you want to find out which kind of objective you want to achieve or goal we want to achieve at the end. So we establish that goal, and we want to break down our goal into small pieces. So that we want to call our objectives. And when we take those objectives, we want to identify the success criteria. So what is going to allow us to say, hey, we are achieving our goal or not, we are not achieving our goals, or we are fulfilling that particular let's say mission that we gave to ourselves, or we are not fulfilling. And then you want to list the assumptions, the risk, and the obstacle. Probably some of the actions are being taken by the government, by some other organization, by your business partners or your shareholders are thinking about those things. So you are going to take them as assumption. And you have some risk and obstacles. So some risk probably it can be things that are external to your organization, right? So probably, let's say, natural disaster or technological disaster or something that can happen at any moment that can put at risk your activities to stop your activities. You have some obstacles also, such as probably the government, the regulation, the laws of the country or the continent or the environment, the community where you're operating. Those things can be some obstacles for you, right? So we saw in general with COVID-19, this is what happened. Some of the organization had some assumption. Not all of us we faced those risks and obstacles. Well, we faced those challenges, but some of you, let's say some of the organization were already using, for example, technology and were working remotely. So those people, they had it as an opportunity, and the developers have to develop those different tools such as Microsoft Teams and so on that probably were not well known. And then at the end, they became powerful tools to allow people to execute their work, right? To execute their work. Um, the scoping document is a kind of short and crisply phrased pieces of information covering what is to be done, why it should be done, and the value it provides if it's done. So we are not going to use technical word. Technical word, we use it probably when we are in the team and we are working because we understand the same language. But if you go to a particular community, you want to implement your project, and you are going to use words such as we and our stakeholders, we want to implement those activities in your community, and you guys are going to be considered as our stakeholders because you are going to benefit the project, and our shareholders are ready to give us the finance and so on. So shareholders, stakeholders, those are technical words that we use when we are in our team, when we are developing our activities historical. But when we go to meet communities, people who do not understand those technical language, what do? We have to simplify things. We have to simplify them. Instead of probably saying stakeholder, we are going to say the groups that are going to be interested, or the group who are involved in the activity, right? So people are going to understand. So your community, our group, and our different partners, so group of people who are helping us together, we want to design that particular activity and implement in your community, right? So saying this, people understand, they know what we are talking about instead of saying stakeholder, right? Um, so your scoping document example, you have your problem or opportunity that you have to identify. You have the project name, the sponsor, and the manager. You have a singular goal, so a simple one goal, and then you have your different objectives. So I know you have been heard about smart objectives, smart objectives. So your objective have to be specific. So specific, though something really specific, and we can measure it, and it has to be assignable and realistic also, and on a time base, right? So instead of saying, probably if I say I want to travel Latin America, or I want to travel 10 countries in Latin America, probably this is it looks like an objective, but this is not an objective. It's a wish. So I'm wishing to travel 10 countries in Latin America, right? So it had to be specific, right? So I can move, or I can transform this objective and to make it more a smart objective, which is going to be specific, measurable. So like I want to travel 10 countries in Latin America within the next 5 years, right? So within the next 5 years, is it time based? Yes, I said within the next 5 years. So from now to the next 5 years, I'm going to be traveling countries. Can we measure it? Say yes, I said 10 countries. Is it realistic? Yes, it is. So 5 years. So we are going to take more or less the example as we want to travel 2 countries a year. So can we assign it? Is it can we do it? Yes, we can. So we have those different things inside the objective. Instead of saying I want to travel 10 countries Latin America, which is vague, a kind of wish. But if I say I want to travel 10 countries in Latin America within the next 5 years, or by June 2025, or by December 2020, whatever you want to call it, now it becomes more specific, more we can measure it, and it's more realistic, right? You have your success criteria, and you have also your assumption, risks, and obstacles. So scoping the project, so means the opportunity or the problem that we want to find is a statement of fact that everyone in the organization will accept as a true, right? As true. It should be communicated why the project should be accomplished. So when we are taking, when we take our project, what do? We want to find out before we go out to try to serve the other communities. Let's make sure that our people in the organization understand what we have, what we want to do, and how we want to do it, and why we should do it, right? So when we explain to all our people in the organization, our stakeholders in the organization, people understand, and those people are going to put in also the effort that they should put to make sure that our project is going to move toward achieving our goal. A project has a one primary goal to give a purpose and direction. So we want to define the plan, deliverable, and outcome. We want to state in a clear terms what is to be accomplished, and what we have to understand also, it's a reference point for questions about scope and purpose of the project, right? Smart objectives. So we discuss smart objective in the few lines above. And then your success criteria, you have to clear state the bottom line impact. So we know that in CSR, what we have been discussing, we have been talking about our social impact, our environmental impact, and we have been talking about also the economical impact. So your triple bottom line. So we want to find what are the different, let's say, bottom line that we want to have, you want to touch, you want to impact, to say, hey, I'm succeeding in that particular, I'm making sure that the project is moving toward what I said. And we want to quantify also outcomes to success. So success can be measured. So how many people you want to empower with your project. So if you want to implement a project, probably to empower kids because they are working. So, and you want to create probably a school for them or an education system for them. How many young people or kids you want to touch with your project, right? You want to identify also factors that might affect the outcome or completion of the project, which are going to be the risk and obstacles. You used to alert management to factors that may interfere with your project work, and type of assumption and risk can be technological, as I said, environmental, interpersonal, cultural, political, and so on and so on, right? So here's where I'm going to stop, where this is going to be into bracket, let's say a kind of rubric for us. Um, Not a kind, this is the rubric actually. So that we are going to use for our project. Is it that after watching our video and we decided we want to implement a project to solve the problem that we identified through the video, which kind of name we are going to give to our project? um, is how our project is going to be structured or organized, such as do we have a project manager and our project members, so the team members. So which department we are going to have? Do we have a marketing department? Do we have a finance department, accounting department? So you can assign those different, let's say, roles, or job duties to your teammates, right? And then, so you have one project manager and you have also the team members that are going to take in charge the different departments. And then you want to find why to do this particular project, which is the problem or the opportunity. And then you want to set a goal, which goal we want to achieve, and the objectives. So we discuss the objectives, and you want to put in duration and also the cost, and your success criteria, which is the outcomes of the project, and your risk and assumptions that you want to put also out there. We want to stop right here. So this week, what we are going to do, I'm going to share with you in class, um, let's say the final rubric. So this is the main idea that we want to achieve. So as I told you, you have different projects, you have different realities. So this is the standard document that we are going to use to evaluate your project, but we are going to have different key elements that I'm going to solve those questions, those answers. I'm going to answer those questions that we are going to have, those preoccupations that we are going to have according to your videos in class. So according to the video, according to the reality or the opportunity or the problem, then you can ask specific questions that we can solve in class. Or during the weeks, you can just drop a message, you can write me out through email, or you can just call me, and then we can discuss that. Okay, so you take care of yourself, and you don't take care of yourself for now. I'm going to share okay. So the example of the project that I wanted to show you, I would upload in let's say in your channels, and then you guys can also take it as an inspiration to develop also your project. So you are going to find a PowerPoint presentation of a previous project that we worked on for a foundation in Colombia, in Bogota. and then we want to take it as, let's say, bottom line as an example, so we can try to figure out how we can take that as an inspiration to develop our project. Once again, this is to give you some kind of guidelines. So according to the problem that you have, it's going to be different. So I'm just sharing that with you so you can have some ideas of where we are heading to. So you take care of yourself now, and I see you during the week. And if you have any question, any doubt, any preoccupation, do not hesitate to drop me an email. Bye bye. You take care of yourself, and see you